Good morning and welcome to your favorite breakfast show, Smell the Coffee. Of course, I have a wonderful lined up just for you. We'll be talking to Brian, an American who's making a trek on foot from South Africa to Tunisia. He's currently in Namibia, and of course, Smell the Coffee had to catch up with him. We'll obviously also plug you in with the latest in our entertainment news and so much more. I'm your host, Glenn Rashipura. Sit back, relax, while I keep you entertained. I am in conversation with Brian Stupak, who is currently on a trek on foot from Cape Town to Tunisia. I got it right.
Yes.
How are you doing? How is Namibia feeling? I know you're pretty exhausted because you just arrived yesterday, but how is it so far in Namibia?
It's really good. It's warm, and I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about the people. You know, everyone's been super loving and caring as I've been coming across this journey. It's been great. You know, the amount of support I've received has really picked me up on the days where I haven't felt as much like walking 50 kilometers. It's been nice to stop and see people on the side of the road and have them take photos and drop off Powerade and biltong and water and chocolate. But I feel pretty good. The feet have blisters.
Yeah.
The mind is tired, but the body feels fine. And I'm going to rest here for about a week and a half, and then I'll be on my way again.
I like that you're also taking the time to rest, which is very important. Now, take me back to you before this trek. What brought you to decide to do something so brave, so grand, and it's really a long journey?
Yeah. So a couple things. I wanted to do like a long journey that encapsulated like physical fitness, cultural aspects of the world, like mental health, and I wanted it to take some time. So I'm bipolar myself, so I wanted to talk about mental health. I'm a former athlete, so I wanted to do something that was like fitness related. And I'm a sociology major, so I traveled the world to learn languages, so I want to do something kind of language and culture based. So I was like, okay, so what could I do that kind of checks all those boxes? And I was like, well, I want to walk the continent of Africa. That's funny. I told my parents, and they're like, ha ha ha. But they shouldn't have been surprised because I do a lot of stuff like this. Not like this, but like very kind of out of the box. And it's been a 3-year journey to try to like save up for it and plan for it and get sponsors. I still don't have sponsors, so in theory.
Yeah.
And then find partners, which took a while, and I wanted it to take time because I travel a lot, and I get through this cycle of like, in part of it's with the bipolar aspect, where it kind of exaggerates it, because I travel, I have a great amount of time, a great amount of fun during my time traveling, and then I run out of money, and then I come back in at home and I substitute teach. I get very down, because I don't know if you've ever substitute taught before, but it's not a lot of fun. You know,
I've had to do work that you have to do it because you need to get by.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the same concept. It's like, and I'm very goal and dream oriented. Like, you may say I'm a dream. You know, it's very.
I like that.
Yeah. So, but dreams don't often pay the bills. So, like, it crushes me every day when I have to do something I don't love. So, and it was 3 straight years of like saving up to go on the summer of 2021. 2022, 2023, like not making it happen, and then finally 2024, I'm just gonna do it. So it was like I would work my butt off for 12 to 16 hours a day, save up, end up not doing it, traveling somewhere else, having a great time, coming back, trying again. So this most recent time I taught, and I worked at Taco Bell, which is like
I know of Taco Bell, but
it's like Mexican McDonald's.
Yes, exactly.
You know, it's no one's dream.
It's like I hear you.
So, but it was fine.
Fast food restaurant.
Fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
You know.
You are tapping at something within you.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the storytelling component of it.
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
I'm enjoying meeting the people, talking about the mental health. That's all great, and that's the purpose. I don't want to get too far off track of that, but like the storytelling component of like, I start today. how do I tell a compelling story over the course of today, and then tomorrow will solve tomorrow.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that also brings it a lot back to the mental health component, which is, this is you saying, I need to slow down, be present, deal with today, and tomorrow, deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And most of the issue, I'm not saying it's everything around the mental health component. We have people who live in the future. That's the anxiety.
Yes.
You're worried about what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and so you have a lot of anxiety. And then you have the past, the
Carry
dread.
it with you.
Yes, and then you're more depressed, and you're in
Yeah.
depressive states because of that.
And that's a huge challenge for me too, letting go of the past and not worrying about the future.
Exactly.
It's hard. It's hard to just be strictly in the present.
Yeah.
And so, this walk has kind of helped with that, because I'll be really frustrated by something that happened in the past, and I'll be thinking about it during my walk.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just get really tired. And I was like,
Because
okay.
your mind is like,
Yeah, but also my body's been walking 8 hours.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm focused on right now. How do I get food?
yes.
And so that becomes
That's more important than
Yeah.
the thing that happened in the past
Yeah.
is not currently happening right now.
You think about I really didn't like how I handled that fight 3 years ago. And that's how you're thinking at 9 in the morning, but by about 2 p.m. you're like, man, I wish I could have some water.
Or some food.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You see, so it brings you to the present, and which is very important. I'm not saying it's the all and big cure for mental health, because I really don't want to say this is what you should do, this is what you should do, because I feel like there's a lot of taboo around it, and we've not talked about it a lot. Even I feel embarrassed to say that I actually can't comment on certain things because I'm not so sure, or I
Yeah.
don't know the full extent of it.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you need to be an expert to have an opinion or to talk about it, right? So and I know this specifically because people share very wrong opinions with me all the time. Not to say anyone's wrong. So I'm bipolar,
Yeah.
and I was talking to someone last night, and they said, well, I think everyone's bipolar. I'm like, well, no, that's not a thing, so, but she's allowed to have her opinion. And,
Exactly.
but my point is, we can learn and grow.
By engaging in discussions.
Yeah.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
What exactly is a bipolar disorder? I don't think a lot of people understand.
Okay, so I didn't really understand when I got diagnosed either. I thought it was just like split personality. That's what I thought. Where it's
I also thought so.
Yeah,
you go from one extreme end to the
well, I thought it was
other extreme.
you watch the movie Split or whatever. Yeah, and I thought well, now
I'm a fan of the movie.
now I'm a 12-year-old boy. Now I'm an 80-year-old grandma. That's what I thought when I got diagnosed. And so I was like, but I'm Brian. But no, it's not like that at all. It's you just have extreme bouts of energy, mania or hypomania that lasts anywhere from a few days to a month or so, 6 weeks. And then you're insanely either productive or sometimes reckless, where you can, you go 3, 4, 5 nights at a time without sleep, have all the energy in the world, are super up.
Yeah.
And then you have followed by anywhere from 3 to 12-month crashes of depression. So, whereas the average person, you have your scale here, the average person kind of stays in the middle, and you'll have your highs, you'll have your lows, but you're kind of in here. The bipolar person, here's a story. So, I had a friend who was bipolar, and she was feeling manic, so she bought a car. It's okay, black car. But the next day it was hot, because I live in a hot town and it was summer. So she went out and she bought a white car because the black car was too hot. Didn't trade her in or anything, just bought a second car. Third day, it was still hot because my town is in the summer, so she bought a convertible. So we got 3 cars in 3 days, and she was not rich, so she just went into massive debt, and it was just because in her mind that told her like, I need to do this, you know. And then you deal with the fallout consequences of that, where now I'm $75,000 in debt, and I have to work a lot, and I'm miserable. You know, whereas my whole deal was like, different people are more problematic on different sides of the spectrum. So, like when I'm really up, I wasn't really ever a danger to myself or others. I would just write a lot. So like my novels, I've written 9 novels. I published 2 of them, and I usually finish them in like a week and a half. And so I would travel to learn languages, and I would write to help me learn these languages. So like my Italian, I was living in the French Alps, and I was writing this Italian book because I just lived in Italy, and I was afraid that my languages were merging and I was losing my Italian.
Yeah.
So I just started writing a diary every day in Italian to help me, you know, remember it. But there's only so many days in a row you could write. It's cold, and I didn't go outside.
Yeah.
So I started writing a book about a soldier during World War II, and I would go like 18 hours at a time, just like, and I'm not a fast typer. I'm a right index, left middle guy, so I peck at it.
You have to.
I do the thumbs for spacebar.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's
and so
impressive stuff.
Thank you. And then my brain would get so hot that I'd take off all my clothes, and I'd lay in the snow until I would start to shiver. And because I was manic, I didn't really, you know, I was pre-diagnosed. I was like, it made sense at the time. And then once I woke up and cooled my brain down, I would go and I'd write again. So that was me during my manic stages. Like I wasn't gonna blow all my money. I wasn't gonna hurt anybody or do anything. But then once I finished the book, and then once I moved, or once the mania died down and I crashed, then I just didn't want to get out of bed for weeks, and I couldn't get emotionally happy. Which I remember I went through a stretch of about 14 months where I was just so depressed, and I had suicidal ideation, all that was terrible. And finally, when my book published, the book that I wrote, it published. I was like, this will be the happiest day of my life. I published a book. I felt no different. I was like, well, what's wrong with me?
It could have been the same. I hear what you're saying. It could have been any other day, but it's such a major milestone for you.
And I would have felt the same way had my hypothetical daughter gotten married. Had I won $1 million, I would have felt the exact. I wouldn't have felt good. So, like, knowing that you're not in control of your emotions is a very disheartening thing. And so I remember I was crying, and I went to my mom. I was like, why can't I get happy? And so we went, and she gave me a hug. We talked to a doctor, and he's like, Brian, I'm a family doctor, but I can't diagnose you as bipolar, but you're bipolar. Go talk to this shrink.
Yeah.
So I talked to a couple of psychologists, and they're like, yeah, you're bipolar. Got on some medication, which handles the ups and downs. I don't get the 5 days without sleep. Sometimes I'll get like 1 day without sleep, which is fine. I'm like 80% up, and then instead of 100% being like 5 days and 0% being suicide, I'm 80% and then 20%, which is like I just get a little depressed for a month.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in the 80 to 20 range. It takes the top off the mountain, and it's fine. I'm able to be more productive, and you know.
I hear you. But the fact that also you got help and you had
and that was
support system to at least, you know, diagnose it, because you were mentioning some stuff, and I'm like, I have had moments like that.
So
and it's also very fortunate that you had people around you, a family doctor who could, you know.
Yeah, he knew me since I was 3 years old.
And it's like, no, this is what this is. A lot of people don't have that to their disposal.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm being so specific right now on some of my symptoms, because hopefully someone who doesn't know they're bipolar, because it's one of the most underdiagnosed things, can be like, man, I don't sleep for a couple nights sometimes, or man, I have struggled with depression, you know. And so like maybe I'm, you know, and it's like anything else where the symptoms get worse the older you get if left untreated. So some statistics for you that I pulled off Google. I don't know how, you know, this was from a few years ago. Divorce rate for bipolar people, 91%. Because like that's what's ended a lot of my.
But it does make sense.
It's difficult because the ups and the downs, but also like I've been in relationships where I've just broken up with someone because I'm like, I don't like them anymore. But it had nothing to do with them. I was just in a state where I wasn't happy.
And it was not your real feelings
no,
at the time.
It was just a down.
And I like that you're doing this and you're having conversations with people. Like you said last night, you had a conversation with somebody who thought this way.
Yes.
And
Well,
you could,
okay.
the point is the discussions. We've not been having these discussions, or we don't have them enough.
This was the important part of the walk, more so than the walk itself was the conversation. So if I have to stay longer to do conversation, so be it. I'm working with Gebhard, my filmmaker. He's joining me for a lot of the trip. And the first filmmaker I tried to hire, her parents didn't want her to go with me because I'm bipolar and they worried about my mental stability. So I had to do, I'm like on the walk. I'm in South Africa. She already agreed to join. She backed out last minute, but it was like, I'm having to do an hour-long Zoom call with 14 members of her family, like aunts, uncles, and they're like, well, how do you feel about this? How do you feel? And it's like, we gotta stop that. Like, that's like I'm on, you're technically like, I'm your employer, and I'm getting interviewed by the family to making sure I'm mentally sane enough to work for you. Like, come on.
Yeah, I hear
So
you.
the stigma behind it is like,
There's a lot of it. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, there's a lot of it. And like I said, what I thought what bipolar disorder was, one moment, like in a day, you were like happy, and then the next you're like, oh, and then like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there are variations of that, but that's all I saw in my mind when I heard about that bipolar disorder, and that's all we've kind of been shown as well. We've not been shown that there's, like, the way you explained it, it's a different picture.
And it's a lot of it's seasonal in terms of like in the springtime. That's when the mania hits hard because the winter creates a lot of depression. And so when you start to get a couple, maybe this isn't as true in Namibia where you guys have warm weather most of the year, but in like the States or in a lot of places where you have like 4 seasons, you have like your winter, which is very like down, and then the first couple weeks of spring, it's like, now I'm gonna stay up for 72 hours, and so, and that, you ever did you study for school? You ever pull an all-nighter?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier at 18 than it is at 35.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be in conversation with you forever.
Yeah.
And you're absolute delight, and I'm so fortunate to have interviewed you. Before I let you go, I just want our viewers to know, where's your next stop?
We're going to Angola.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're going to be in Angola. And also, where can they find you if they want to follow your journey?
So hopefully there's a link or my name's listed. It's just brianstupek@gmail.com. Oh, I don't know, I gave you my Gmail. I mean, if you can email me if you want, but it's just Brian Stupek for TikTok and Instagram, and we have links to my YouTube there.
Awesome. So I will definitely be following your journey, and I'm guessing the viewers will as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for watching, everybody.
I'm quite excited to announce a brand new segment in our Smell the Coffee Friday episode called Bridal Fridays, where we talk all things wedding dresses and just how you can prepare for the perfect wedding. We'll also be talking to couples, and they share their journey, their experiences, their ups and downs, and so much more. Let's take a look at our bridal segment.
I came to Windhoek in 1969 and moved into a flat in Klein Windhoek, where I met my neighbors who were young guys, mostly working at Water Affairs. And then I started going out with the one, and they decided that I must go with them and their friends to Henties Bay. So there we went off. I didn't understand much German, and virtually everybody was just German. And there we went to Henties Bay. So I thought, no, well, let's make the best of it. And I just felt completely left out. So I moved off to stand at one of the cars there and look out over the sea. And here comes this blue-eyed German and says to me, "Now, why are you standing out here alone? And honestly, come and join the crowd." But anyway, it took many, many months before I really thought that he was interested in me, or that I was interested in him, because we were always moving around in this group of friends. And eventually, and he was in any case not working in Windhoek. So, meanwhile, I think he was very taken with me, this English girl from Johannesburg. And he worked for a company, BSB, and he decided no, he was going to make a move and come to Windhoek so that we could be together.
So, Marit, what was the first thing that you noticed about her?
I really don't know. It's just was what the quietness. She was always not loud, rowdy like we were, but there was always a chance to, how must I say, educate her to get the Namibian manners. So, and it was always quite nice to be together with the crowd when I was back from the farming area.
So when did you take it to the next level?
Phew, I can't remember. Was that at the carnival?
Well, in any case, what happened in the long run is that we as a group of friends always moved around together, and then I also decided that this one neighbor who I had been going out with was really not the guy for me. And when he decided to come to Windhoek, I said, okay, let's start going out. But I was not very sure whether I was going to stay here in Windhoek, because I had taken this up employment here with the Department of Information. And then I went back to Pretoria in 1972, and then I realized, no, that I missed this German far too much. And then he came to visit me, and on the 31st of May 1973 at midnight, he asked me whether I would marry him, after he'd spoken to my parents, of course. And 3 months later, we got married in Pretoria, and I came back to Windhoek almost the very next day. We got married on the 1st of September. It was still a public holiday in those days. And that was it. Then we started our life together. And 3 years later, our eldest daughter was born, and in 1979 our son, and we just knew that as long as God spared us, we would be together.
So what is it that you think is the secret to a long marriage?
Well, I would say is talk to each other. Communication is very important, and listen to your partner. Whatever is said, don't chip in between. And also is never go to bed or to sleep when you are angry. Sort out everything before.
Love is important, of course, and that should be enduring. Companionship, understanding, and of course there are misunderstandings. That is so in any marriage, I think. One cannot say, I'm going to be on calm waters all my life. And of course, people have different personalities. I had to learn German and he had to learn English. And we decided that our children would grow up trilingual. And I think one must just realize that when you make a commitment, you should make a commitment forever. Always try to understand the other person, the other point of view. And he just now mentioned chipping in, which unfortunately I do quite a lot. But anyway, I think in the long run, we're probably both the better for it, because that is just how one goes all the way forward. And when you have a family, you also know that you should be committed to them. And then, of course, faith. Our faith in God is always there. We always ask Him for guidance. Of course, one has trials and tribulations. Nothing is perfect ever, but it is there to be sorted out. And I won't say we're soulmates, but we are yin and yang. I think we complete and fulfill each other in many respects. There's so many things he can do that I can't, and there are things that I can do that he can't, obviously. But one learns from each other, and you know this is the way forward. You've taken that step, and through God's grace, here we are, 50 years later.
My love.
It's always a delight to spend my morning with the viewers and the fans of Small the Coffee, but all good things must come to an end, unfortunately. And on that note, from me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.